Welcome everybody back to episode 11 of my indie game devlog. Before we start anything, I'd like to announce that as of now, the demo for The Legend of Riptide is available and you can download and play it for free using the links in the description below. Anyway, without further ado, let's return to the devlog. Alright, so today we've got an assortment of changes, so I guess I'll start with the smallest and work my way up to the larger changes later. I've tweaked a couple of the player animations, making them feel a little bit more natural and making them flow a little bit better. I mean, I pretty much just put the arm and the sword at a different angle. Still an improvement though. I've also tweaked the GUI just a little bit to improve upon the transitions and sprites. There's also a cool little logo that shows up at the start of the game and in the menu just to sort of personalize the game and make it more of my own. Surprisingly enough, this is actually the first logo I've ever made and I think it works for what I got. A few new particles have been added into the game, although the only one that's really notable is the one where the player runs. It sort of creates a nice little dust effect on the ground near his feet. And of course I've finalized a few sprites. I've got a ton of plans for the particle effect system and a ton of plans on adding super juicy feeling effects now that the demo is out. However, the main change came to the weapon system. There are now 3 new weapons you can use: the bow, sword, and fire staff. I mean, what they do is pretty obvious. Although I do have plans to make the ranged weapons more effective against flying enemies and heat attacks more effective against cold enemies. I want to make sure that each weapon has a unique ability that will make it a helpful tool to defeat monsters with. Oh, and the shield will just sort of be there, I guess. I've also started laying the groundwork for upgrading some weapons, which is currently just an empty house called the gear shop. I think I want to have around 5 to 7 weapons, each with their own upgrade paths and abilities. Hopefully, it'll turn out alright. However, I do believe I have encountered or discovered a few issues with the auto scaling, although I can't really test it as I don't have a 16:10 aspect ratio monitor. I only have a 16:9 aspect ratio monitor, and I would like to make sure that the scaling works for pretty much all monitor sizes, or at least the most common ones. So if I am correct, there may be some slight distortion in a 16:10 aspect ratio monitor, but that's just based off of the code that I've been using, so I don't really know until I test it. That's actually one of the main reasons I'm releasing this demo so early. I want to make sure I have all of the resolution problems solved, and I want to make sure that the game will scale properly with almost all resolutions, which at the moment it probably won't do so perfectly. As usual, I've smashed a ton of bugs, but there are bound to be a few small ones that just happened to escape the demo. If you happen to find one of these bugs, or you just want to talk with me, you can go ahead and find me in the Discord below. The link is in the description. As far as changes go, that's about all I've got for now. I've mainly been working on getting the demo ready, making sure that the game is functional so that everybody can play it properly, or at least for the most part. And if you really like what I'm doing, consider supporting me on Patreon to get access to some really cool perks. And of course, so I can continue doing this work in the future. As always, huge thanks to everyone watching, and I'll see you in the next devlog.